Well, according to compensatory counter-racist logic, any white person who is able, underline able, to practice racism probably, underline probably, is one. Why? That's according to logic, because we are in a racist system. We are not in any other system. There's no such thing as another system. There's no American system. There's no capitalist system, in the abstract, whatever that means. I don't know what that means. There's no communist system. I don't know what that means in the abstract. That's just a word that people slap on things sometimes, and then they remove the word and call it something else and whatnot. Socialist, what does that mean? But there is one system that is valid everywhere on this planet, that most people are aware of it. A few people understand some of it, like I do, and nobody understands all of it like the people who practice it. That's why it's so successful. That's why it's the most successful government ever set up in the history, in recorded history, on this planet. I don't know about other planets, but there's no government of people more successful than the government of white supremacy, which means dominating and mistreating people based on color. So the only thing that I can say is that I suspect that every white person who is able to be a racist probably is one. I'm duty bound to do that. Why? Because I don't have a master list of who is and who isn't. So they are racist suspects if they are able to be racist. Now, there are some white people who are obviously, based on logic and observation, are not able to be racist. And who are they? Newborn babies, for instance. I have probable cause to believe, that a newborn baby who is white is not a racist. Why? The baby has to be taught to be a racist. And the baby hasn't been taught this. The baby has to know the difference between one color and another. Once the baby learns the difference between colors and then taught by somebody, directly or indirectly, by example or by words, the difference between a person who has color in his or her skin and a person that doesn't have it, that baby up to that point is not a racist. That child is not a racist. If no one has ever pointed this out, somebody's got to point that out. The difference in the colors and what it's supposed to mean. And at some point, either directly or indirectly, many white people never say anything to their offspring about color, but they show by example. So the child picks it up. When it comes to colors, difference in the color of a white person and a non-white person, the child picks it up. Then from that point on, that child has to make a decision. How do I interact with a person who has color in his or her skin? And do I interact differently in any way, in any one of the 9 areas of activity with that person than I would if that person does not have color in his or her skin? If that person has not been designated of being a white person or a non-white person, how am I supposed to interact on a daily basis or in any transaction or et cetera, in economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war? Am I supposed to do the same thing with all of these people, regardless of whether they have color in their skin or not? The same thing at all times, the same way, without exception? That question is asked. Otherwise, white supremacy would have evaporated a long time ago. it would have never gotten off the ground if somebody wasn't around to say, I'm going to show you by example. I'm not going to tell you nothing. You just watch me. Or sometimes sit them down and say, look here. Look here, Ronnie. Now, I know you play with Jason. Jason is the black kid down the street. And I know that you all have been, going here and going there and doing this and doing that. But, now you're going to have to grow up. You're no longer Huckleberry Finn. And you're going to have to get real about the real world. And so you're going to have to, without saying anything, you're going to always have to let Jason know that you're busy, that I have things for you to do, that you can't play with him no more. You got to set that distance somewhere. All right? This is done somewhere along the line, everywhere, and everybody, white and non-white, is aware of this. Why is it? Where is that breaking point? Where is that separation point that we in 2016 keep talking about the so-called black neighborhood or the black community? If there was no racism, there would be no such thing as anything that even people wouldn't have any idea what you're talking about when you're talking about a black neighborhood. They wouldn't have an idea, white people nor non-white people. That expression would not exist. People would look at you in complete amazement and say, what in the world are you talking about? What's a black neighborhood? A neighborhood where it's night all the time? I don't know what you're talking about. But everybody understands that.